The only reason you would ever start a business, the only legitimate reason to ever become an entrepreneur is because you are obsessed with solving a certain problem. The only thing that makes you wake up in the morning when you don't want to is, I've got to solve this problem. The only thing that makes you go to bed at night thinking, all right, we got to do this again tomorrow, is because you're obsessed with solving a problem. The only thing that makes you take the hard meeting, make the phone call, say the hard thing is because you're obsessed with solving the problem. Because there's no other reason that'll fuel you enough to get through this.
Welcome, everybody, to the Chris Harder Show, where we are making you unapologetic about your pursuit of success, knowing that when good people like you make good money, they can then do great things. My name is Chris Harder, and several times per week, I will bring you epic guests, solo episodes, and every single tool, trick, and skill set you need to grow your business, grow your money mindset, and to grow your wealth to levels that you have never reached before. I've ended up in a unique place in life where I've got the experience, the connections, and all of the secrets that it takes to be successful. And I'm lifting the curtain to reveal it all to you in an effort to help put you in a position of abundance so great that you can then be as generous as possible. So let's lock arms and let's get started.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Chris Harder Show, where today I am grateful for, I know what today's is. Today I'm grateful for every single person who said yes to the first ever Found trip for entrepreneurs. And a lot of people are like, hey man, why are you calling this series of trips Found? Well, it's kind of a play off of Founder, but also you're going to find every little missing piece you've been looking for by taking yourself outside of your business, giving yourself some highly curated but slow-paced space to be able to have the conversations that you're just not having right now. I believe that everybody is one conversation away or one perspective change away from an absolute breakthrough that's going to change their lives. And I just got to brag for a minute about the incredible people that are going on this trip. We have the top concierge doctor in the world to celebrity and A-list entrepreneurs going. We have one of the founders of an incredible wealth advisory family office who have also had 2 exits themselves. They're an incredible couple. We've got someone who owns a massive HR and headhunting company going. We have an AI and tech genius going. We have an incredible woman who owns not only several brick and mortar boudoir photography locations, but has also raised a great big private money fund for lending. How cool is that? We've got the owner of a creative studio that helps founders and celebrities tell their stories. We've got a remarkable, badass, clever engineer who owns all these 3D printers. He's built this massive 3D printing business. It's so cool. And he 3D prints things like old airplane parts that don't exist anymore for old, World War II bombers. It's just the cool stuff what these people do. Let's see who else is going. We've got one of the original founding employees from not only Postmates, but also Uber Eats, who is a go-to-market specialist. Imagine what kind of marketing conversations you can have with one of the original founding employees who is a go-to-market specialist for Postmates and Uber Eats and companies like that. We've got this remarkable woman. She is such a badass who not only owns a multi-million dollar salon, but then helps other salon and beauty brick and mortars grow theirs into the multi-millions as well, and is a leadership expert. Guys, the list goes on and on. Now, the list is also missing one name, and that's probably your name. We have room for one person to go. So if you want to work your way up the coast of Southern California, first class style, luxury this, luxury that, in beautiful, inspiring spaces, that is going to be highly curated, but slow paced, so that you can have all the right conversations with the right people that will then change the trajectory of your life. If you want to do that, then there's one spot for one of you. We're leaving September 29th. All you have to do right now is this. Text me if you have my number. Hey, I'm in, or I've got questions. Or DM me on Instagram at Chris W. Harder. That's it. Now that you know who's going, imagine yourself spending 4 days mixed up with them. I mean, I literally met my business partner, Matt, for Frello. I met him on one of these exact kind of trips. Became friends first, and now we own this massive fintech company together. How awesome is that? So DM me, Chris W. Harder. Say, hey, I want to go on this Found trip, or I've got questions about it, or text me if you got my number. I can't wait to see who rounds out this awesome roster. Now, speaking of business, and speaking of entrepreneurs, I wanted to talk about the only valid reason to ever start a business. And I think it's going to shock you. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is I was invited to speak to a group of entrepreneurs. There's about 100 of them or so. And at the end, we did Q&A. And one of the guys raised his hand. He's already successful himself. And he said, hey, I'm thinking about starting another business aside from the one that I'm already doing. But I want to know if it's a good idea that I should be starting this business or not. And I said, okay, well, share with me. Why are you starting the business? And I'll spare you what his answer was. But then I'll tell him what my answer was, because he said, well, why does somebody know if they should start a business or not? Now, before I tell you what my answer was, I'm going to tell you what my answer was not, because the following reasons are not reasons to ever become an entrepreneur or start a business. And I think some of them might surprise you. For example, the idea of, well, I could make a lot of money doing this is not a good enough reason to start a business or become an entrepreneur. Or I've been told I'd be really good at this is not a good enough reason to start a business or become an entrepreneur. Or I want time freedom, or I want financial freedom. Trust me, those are certainly not the real reasons why you would start a business or become an entrepreneur. I can give you a million examples why there. The world needs this product. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but just because you have a quote unquote great idea and the world needs a product, that's not a good enough reason to start a business or become an entrepreneur. Because the list of ideas, the list of reasons why you think a business should start, or why you think you should be an entrepreneur that you've been told your whole life. My friends and family say, hey, I'd be a great entrepreneur, so I'm going to buy this business or start this business. No, not a good enough reason. And I'll tell you why in a minute, because I bet some of those feel counterintuitive. I bet some of those surprise you. The only reason, and this is what I told the guy during the Q&A, the only reason you would ever start a business, the only legitimate reason to ever become an entrepreneur is because you are obsessed with solving a certain problem. What is the word? Obsessed. You are obsessed with solving a certain problem, and the only way to solve that problem is by you creating a solution or a business that provides that solution around it. And I don't mean you're interested in solving a problem. I don't mean that you think there's money in solving a problem. I mean, you are obsessed with solving this problem. And here's why. Entrepreneurship is not fun. It's not sexy. It's not glamorous. It has fun moments. It has a few glamorous moments. It has some really cool wins. And if you like roller coaster rides, it's got some thrills. But when the going gets tough, when you have a day where everything goes wrong, the ideas or the reasons of, well, I could make a lot of money doing this, or the world said it needed this product, or my friend said I'd be a good entrepreneur, those don't hold up. On the bad days, the bad weeks, the bad months, the bad quarters, the bad seasons, those ideas are not enough fuel for you to keep going. Only the obsession over solving this problem is enough fuel for you to keep going during the hard times. And there will be hard times. Ed Milet had such a great post the other day. He said, hey guys, I want to talk to you about real entrepreneurship. He said, I know you see all these entrepreneurs that you follow online and they're on their boats in Europe and they're in Ibiza partying and they're saying, oh, look what entrepreneurship got. He said, that's not entrepreneurship. He said, half those people are broke or they're stretching the dollar or they got there maybe because of entrepreneurship, but that's not the reason why they're an entrepreneur. And that's certainly not what entrepreneurship looks like. That might be what the outcome of a long time in being an entrepreneurship looks like. He said, no, entrepreneurship looks like this. And he went on to share his real raw day. He said, I woke up this morning and a contract that was supposed to have wired us a bunch of money did not wire the money. And when we called them on it, they said, yep, we actually don't have it. We didn't get our funding. You're not going to get it. He said, and then later in the day, another big deal that we had sold, a great big deal that we were going to do a big deal with, that fell through. And they said, nope, we actually are going a different direction. He said, and then I had an employee that got sick and they're going to be out for a long time because they got some family drama going on. And I don't know how to replace this person. And then we had this, and then we had that. And he had like these 5 or 6 huge shit sandwiches that he had to eat all in one day that he listed out. And he said, today was a horrible day. But then he said, on days like this, and weeks like this, and months like this in entrepreneurship, because there will be, you have to be able to generate enough energy to get bigger than the problems. And that's something that Lori and I have said all along. How do you get bigger than the problem? He said, you need to generate enough energy, AKA fuel, to get bigger than the challenges in entrepreneurship. And you won't do that from, oh, I thought I was going to make a lot of money when you're not making money. You don't do that from, oh, I thought this was going to be fun and cool when it's not fun and cool. You don't get it from, oh, my friend said I'd be really good at this when it feels like you're not very good at it. See how those things like suddenly don't seem like valid reasons when the going gets tough? The only thing that makes you wake up in the morning when you don't want to is I've got to solve this problem. The only thing that makes you go to bed at night thinking, all right, we got to do this again tomorrow is because you're obsessed with solving a problem. The only thing that makes you take the hard meeting, make the phone call, say the hard thing is because you're obsessed with solving the problem. There is no other legitimate reason to start a business or become an entrepreneurship because there's no other reason that'll fuel you enough to get through this. Okay, hey, real quick, I'm going to interrupt, but it's for a really good reason. Let me ask you this. How are you really feeling right now about your social media content game? And this is an important question. If I had to ask myself, I'm asking because my social media game sucked the past couple of years. I mean, it was terrible. Every time I tried to hire it out, it didn't work. Their content was totally not me. And then when I would take it back over myself, it just never got done. That was until I finally found a team that stopped confusing social media content, just putting stuff up, with actual real social media strategy. The reality is this: social media matters if you're building your business, and you can't ignore it even if you want to. Trust me, I tried. Consumers are spending over $1 trillion with a T through social media every single year, not scrolling, buying and hiring people, choosing who they trust by voting with their dollar. And it's not going to you, it's going to somebody else like me instead. That's why I want to introduce you to my personal CMO, Melissa Duglecki, and her team at the Brand Lab. I swear by her and her team. Melissa is somebody that both Lori and I have trusted with our marketing for a long time now. She's worked on our launches and our social media strategy, our copywriting, landing pages, my brand, and like much more. And in my world, I don't trust effort or intention. I'm sorry, effort and intention are not good enough. I only trust results. And we're finally getting them with Melissa and her team. Like, it feels so freaking good to see my social media go up on a consistent basis and actually like what they're putting up. So here is the deal. I've got a gift for you, but only for a few of you. I've asked Melissa to offer some of my listeners a limited number of spots to get a fully customized social media strategy, just like I got, covering your messaging, your positioning, bio, and content strategy. Now, when you use code Chris at chrisharder.me/social, that's chrisharder.me/social, you get $1,000 off as a thank you from me to you for listening. So go to chrisharder.me, that's .me/social, use code Chris and get $1,000 off as a thank you. If your social media results suck right now, like mine did, or if it feels overwhelming, trust me, just try this. The missing piece isn't more effort. That's what I was doing. It didn't work. It was the right strategy and the right team. Go to chrisharder.me/social, get $1,000 off your custom social media strategy as a thank you from me to you. And guys, this is literally me. Like, remember my Frello story? I was fueled by how can I solve at scale the same problem I solved for that landscaper that DM'd me saying, hey, I'm 2 payments behind on my truck. I'm embarrassed to send this to you. You don't know me. But if I don't get $680 like yesterday, then not only am I going to lose my business, but 2 great guys that work for me are going to lose their jobs. Would you ever lend me $680? And I said, hey, buddy, stranger, I'm not going to lend you $680. I'll give it to you. Here you go. PayPal, blah, blah, blah. Here's your $680. All I ask for you is that you work hard to put yourself in position to do this for somebody else one day. And he literally DMs me out of the blue 2 months later. He's like, hey, man, I want to let you know what happened. He's like, I took that money. It got current on the truck. The guys kept their job, and that's great. He said, but the magical thing is this. When you said you wanted nothing in return other than for me to work really hard to put myself in position to do this for somebody else one day, he said, that lit a fire in me like I've never felt before, to the point where I went out and have gotten so many new landscape contracts that I'm buying a second truck and hiring 2 more guys. In other words, he's doubling his business. He went from not having a business any moment now to doubling his. And I said, how do I solve this at scale? This guy just needed a bridge. This guy just needed a quick $680. And that became Frello, the 2-sided marketplace where individuals can lend to individuals in times of need. And we'd move the money, we'd insure it and all that stuff. Now, remember, we had to pivot. We had spent over 2 years, over $2.5 million building the greatest app you have ever seen in your life, doing exactly what I just described. This thing was awesome. And it was going to be a smash hit. And then the CFPB in the end of May 2024 made a ruling on the only other company that was doing something similar, saying, hey, we know you're not a lender, but you kind of look like a lender, you dance like a lender, you smell like a lender. And because 1.5 million loans have been made on your platform, we're just going to classify you as a lender. So now you've got 1.5 million violations of truth in lending and Fair Credit Act and everything, and like stood them in the Stone Ages. And our attorneys are like, you can't move forward. Now, guys, if I had started a business in that moment just because entrepreneurship seemed fun or cool, do you think I would have kept going and found a pivot? No. If I had started a business at that point because I thought it was going to pay me a lot of money, after 2.5 years and $2.5 million in, do you think that I would have kept going and found a pivot? No. If I had started the business because the world really just needed the solution, but I wasn't passionate about connecting people with a second chance, a bridge to be able to go accomplish their dreams, no. The only thing that made me say, I have got to find a pivot is because I cared so damn much about hardworking entrepreneurs out there that run into financial problems and need fast, easy funding for those. And our pivoted into the hard money space. So now everyone that wants to buy a piece of property or flip a home or buy a massive, called parking garage or car washes or whatever it might be, they can now go on Frello, put their request on there, and guys with lots of money will give you private loans for it. Hard money loans for it. Hey man, I'll give you that $400,000 for a year. Here's what the payback terms are. Hey man, I'll give you that $1 million for 6 months. Here's what the terms are. And so we're still accomplishing the same thing we set out to accomplish, just in a different way on a different scale. But I would not have stuck with that and saw that all the way through to release, and now it's going awesome, if I had started the business for any other reason other than I was obsessed with solving the problem at scale that I solved for that landscaper. How do you get the right guys and gals the little bit of a bridge that they need when they need it? And it's that world of private money. That is the only reason you would ever start a business. No other reason will be legitimate once the bullets are flying. So I share that with you in case you're considering being an entrepreneur, in case you are saying, gosh, why isn't this working for me? In case you say, God, I thought it would be different. Maybe it's time for a pivot to an idea that you actually care about solving. Maybe it's time to pivot back to a job because you weren't supposed to be an entrepreneur at all or yet. Or maybe this is confirmation that even though things suck for you right now in your business, because you care so damn much about that problem you're trying to solve, it is worth keep going, because trust me, it is. So hopefully this message helps you. And if you want to have more conversations like this with other people who've been there, done that at a very high level, get your tail on this trip. One spot left. Text me or DM me about Found, the trip up the Southern California coast starting on September 29th. One spot for one of you. You already heard who else is going. Can't wait to travel with you and have these great conversations. Love and appreciate you. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. And if you loved this episode and know of someone else who is as successful as they are generous, please pass them on to me. It would mean the world to me if you help me get this cause and this message out to as many listeners as I can. So please, if you liked what you heard, it goes a long way if you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. I'll be forever grateful. And until the next episode, cheers to your success.